Now, welcome to another Sunday commentary, which means I'll once again be moving away a bit from the galaxy far, far away and talking about some more real world topics, though, as tends to be the case, it will relate back to Star Wars and other similar properties. But if that's not what you're here for, if you just want the fun Star Wars talk, by all means, do skip this video. Anyway, what brings this one on is a story I heard the other day that Amazon is in the early stages of producing a live-action She-Ra series, one where very little is known just yet. They don't even have a writer attached to the project, it seems. However, one of the things that is known, or has been said apparently, is that it will have nothing at all to do with the Netflix animated series that started in 2018 and only recently concluded. Which has quite a few fans of that show upset, enough so where an online petition was created asking for the new series to be cancelled and for the 2018 series, or an animated movie based off of it, to be made instead or continued. And this goes along with a petition that was created back when the aforementioned series first ended, one asking for it to be saved or again continued, and that has some 120,000 signatures, which clearly shows a good deal of support for the show. And before diving headfirst into some curiosities that I think this all brings up, I'll first admit that I actually saw the first season of the 2018 She-Ra series along with my wife, who is or was a big fan of the show growing up. And with me being a big fan of He-Man growing up, I certainly saw my fair share of She-Ra episodes back in the day, and I always thought the show was fine, if not good. Never had a problem with it or didn't not want to watch it because it was a quote-unquote girls show or anything like that. Heck, thanks to a sister who is a few years older than me, I ended up watching a lot of quote-unquote girls shows growing up. But anyway, quite honestly, I didn't have any real problem with the first season of the 2018 series. I thought it was okay, but not something I was all that into or wanted to keep watching, just like the original series was fine, but not my thing necessarily. And so I didn't keep watching it, especially considering, like a lot of people, I don't have all the time in the world to watch every single series or show. I have to be picky about the ones I do invest my time into. My wife, on the other hand, enjoyed the first season quite a bit, but she didn't keep watching it after that because she had one major complaint that she just couldn't quite get over, that being she wished it wouldn't have been called She-Ra. She wished it had been something different, something just new and original, albeit similar, because other than in name and a few other things, it's nothing like the original She-Ra series that, again, she was a pretty big fan of growing up. And so, in a strange twist of irony, and I'm going to be discussing a lot of irony in this video, the reason she started to watch it in the first place was basically the same reason why she stopped watching it. She was lured to it because it was called She-Ra, but stopped watching it, even though, yeah, for the most part she did enjoy it, because it wasn't She-Ra, not the one she loved and remembered as a kid, and that just kind of annoyed her. And of course, when it comes to remakes that don't honor or try to hold true to the original, oftentimes people do get annoyed, or a lot more than just annoyed. They can get downright angry. And so, keeping with the irony theme, I can't help but find a good deal of irony in this petition to have the new or upcoming She-Ra series cancelled because it isn't going to be what some She-Ra fans want, the ones who liked the new series, even though they didn't seem to have a problem with it being changed from what it originally was to fit with what they wanted it to be or what they ended up liking about it. And I'm not trying to be an ass here by pointing that out. I'm not. I'm actually sorry a series a lot of people seem to enjoy got canceled, or whatever happened to it. I think it was only planned to be a certain number of seasons, and then they held true to that. They didn't renew it. And then a new one is essentially taking its place that will not honor the previous one. Believe me, I know how much something like that sucks to have something you enjoyed before get changed into something different now. In fact, I'm hoping the fans who enjoyed this 2018 She-Ra Netflix series, and a lot of them say they enjoyed it for the excellent representation of the LGBTQ+ community, well, I hope they're starting to see through the smokescreen, to see the truth, to see the pandering and the true motive behind all these constant remakes. Which is that Hollywood and or the entertainment industry, and I'm talking about the higher-ups, not necessarily the people actually making the content, well, they don't really care about these things, these issues, the ones that are important to you, just like they don't care about the properties themselves or what original fans want of them or want to see from them. Instead, they only care about what your cause and or these properties that they own, again, like She-Ra, they only care about what they can be used for. They care only about their financial gain and trying to look virtuous in the process. And if you think it's otherwise, then tell me, why do they rarely ever make new characters and properties to showcase diversity and representation? Why do they almost always take existing properties and repurpose them, or the characters or concepts within them? And it's because, honestly, no one would really care if they did that, if they made completely new shows. There wouldn't be much, if any at all, opposition to these brand new concepts filled with new, truly unique characters packed full of representation. But, as I've said many times before, that is the problem. No one would care. New characters don't come with a built-in audience and guarantees of at least some viewership, which is all these old properties are to them. They are built-in customer bases to take advantage of. Because, kind of like I was saying before, there is so much out there to watch. There's too much for the average person to ever hope to consume. And so these companies, all of which are competing against each other for our money, are going to do anything and everything they can to get you to watch their show and not the one put out there by the other network or streaming service, and they'll happily exploit your childhood and or desire for representation to get an edge, and they'll do it at the same time. Because if they really cared about representation, they'd take the risk on something new, wouldn't they? If it's all about the message, if it's all about these causes and these issues, if it's that important to them, then certainly it is worth that risk of failing. I mean, if they really and truly care about these causes, simply put, they should put their money where their mouth is. But they don't do that because it's not about representation. Again, it's all about money. And basically, they're trying to double dip. They're trying to get old fans, the original She-Ra fans, or whatever property it might be, they're trying to get them to watch, and they're also trying to appeal to those who want to be, to put it bluntly, represented on screen. And maybe the part of this that is the most confusing or sad to me is that some who are all for representation, and mind you, I'm not saying I'm against it, I'm all for it too, I just think that representation is not as important as story, and I'll get to more on that in a bit. But to me, it seems like they're not only okay with all this, but they seem to like seeing existing properties or characters changed. They seem to relish original fans being disappointed or upset, and then they go after them and say they're bigoted for not liking the changes or the new version, because it must be that they don't want to see certain characters or types of characters on screen, not that they just liked the original version of the characters as they were and wanted to see them that way again. And the thing is, and if I were a betting man, my money would be on a fair share of representation being in the upcoming Amazon live-action She-Ra series as well. And for all we know, it might be even more diverse than Netflix's version. It might go further than that one ever did. This could end up being an amazing piece of LGBTQ+ representation, which some would say is even more important than staying true to the source material. So if that is the case, there's no reason to be upset about them changing these things. Everyone who enjoyed the 2018 Netflix series should love this and accept this new series as long as it has the same level or more representation included, because that is the most important thing, right? That's what matters. And if you don't see it that way, you must be a bigot who doesn't care about representation. You should be happy to sacrifice the show you loved and enjoyed to get one that is more inclusive. Unless maybe there was something else about the show some of its fans really, really enjoyed. Something beyond just the representation that they liked and became important to them. Maybe they started to really, really enjoy the version of these characters and kind of want to see more of their story, regardless of anything else. Just like maybe people or fans who enjoyed the original version of She-Ra from back in the 80s, or whatever other property it might be, maybe they just like those versions of the characters and aren't actually against diversity just because they want to see them stay the same. Maybe they're just upset that a new show of the same name, essentially, is being made but disregarding or discarding what they originally liked about it. Maybe none of this has anything to do with representation, and maybe it never did. Maybe, again, it's just all about making money. Anyway, in closing, again, I'm not trying to be mean to anyone who enjoyed the 2018 Netflix She-Ra series. I actually do feel for you. I'm just trying to, maybe a bit too sarcastically, I'm trying to point out the irony here. That it sucks when something you like gets repurposed for a new audience, and that it doesn't have to be because you hate seeing the race, gender, or sexuality of a favorite character change. That maybe you just like the way that original version of the character was, and you'd rather see their story continue than to start over again. Well, that's all I've got for you this time. Now it's your turn to tell me what you think about anything or everything I had to say here. So leave a comment below and let's talk. And until next time, thanks for watching.